This is Katie Colleen with Colleen Cosplay, and I am doing another Naruto tutorial. This is for my 100 subscriber special, as suggested by my subscribers. If you would like to check out that video, I will link it in the description down below. So for my Naruto headbands, I have in the past purchased them. They are varying prices. The prices range from the lower quality, which is too small for my head, or to the higher quality and way too big for my head. To start off, I'm going to do some patterning. So I'm actually going to take plastic wrap and I'm going to put it around my forehead. Then I'm going to use masking tape just on that front portion so that I can draw out the pattern onto it. Looking at reference pictures, it looks like the edges of the metal part of the headband come to about the outer edge of the eye. During this tutorial, I'm also going to make a headband piece for a Shikamaru cosplay. I'm going to lay out the sleeve and do patterning the same way. I'm going to make this using craft foam, and you want a fairly thin craft foam. This is one of the ones that you can just get at Joann's. It's not the EVA foam, it's just the kids' craft foam. I'm going to take my silver Sharpie and I'm going to trace around those patterns that I have made. And then I'm going to cut those out actually with a pair of scissors. This stuff does not cut as well with the X-Acto knife, and keep in mind that we are going to sand down these edges later. Now for the headband symbol, I decided to go with the symbol for the Ninja Alliance from the Great Ninja War. So I am going to sketch out the design. If you own a printer, you could also print out the design. I do not, so I am going to sketch it out by hand. And then I'm going to cut out the design with scissors, and this can be my template. I'm going to center my template onto the headband piece, and then I am going to outline it with my silver Sharpie again. Now I'm going to take out my Dremel tool with a sanding bit, and I'm going to sand down all of those rough edges from using the scissors. Then I'm going to change my Dremel tool to the drill bit, and I'm going to etch in these symbols. The smaller the drill bit size you have, the better. This is very much detail work here. I found that the etching worked quite a bit better if I was working at an angle too, and I did go over these symbols a few times to get the right depth as well. And to finish up some of that detailing with the Dremel tool, I'm going to use a scalpel to make all the fine points in this design, and that gives it a much more finished look. You can also clean up any rough edges. And it is now ready to be treated with the heat gun. With this foam, as you heat it with the heat gun, when it cools, it will cool to whatever shape it is held into. So I'm going to hold this on my forehead just to make sure it fits how I want. I'm also going to grab an arm and make sure that the one for Shikamaru also fits. I am going to prime these headband pieces with Plasti Dip. I do 2 coats, and then I'm going to do 2 coats of this silver spray paint. While my paint is drying, I can work on the fabric part of the headband. So I'm using my headbands that I've purchased as a reference. This is 37 inches long and 3 inches wide. You're going to want to make it quite a bit wider to add some seam allowance. I'm cutting this out on a black stretch fabric. A cotton works just as well. That's what they used for the headbands that I purchased. And I'm going to cut 2 of these, or you can cut 1 with the fabric folded over. And with those pieces, I am going to sew right sides together on both sides so that I have a long tube. I'm also going to serge these edges as well. I did a mediocre job cutting it out, so I want to have smooth edges. Now to flip this inside out. So I'm leaving the ends open so that it can be flipped inside out. And there is quite a bit of fabric here. I'm using a dowel to kind of help me push it through. Now once you have it inside out, you can top stitch around all of the edges. I also use this to close up those end seams, though you can hand stitch those end seams shut as well if you would prefer that instead. Now I'm using a straight stitch, and I'm just going to line up the headband with the inside of my sewing machine foot, and so just along the edge. This will help the headband fabric lay flat and will give it a much more finished look. Now we can move back to the metal headband piece that we've made out of foam. I'm going to drill the holes so that we can later put rivets through them. I'm using the drill bit on my Dremel tool, and I'm going to very carefully drill the holes. And then to cover up my mess ups and do a little bit of weathering, I'm going to use this silver paint over it. This just covers up any scratches from my mess ups drilling, and then I also put it inside the symbol to make the symbol appear a little darker. Now we can attach the foam piece to the actual fabric headband. I'm going to do that using rivets. I'm going to line up the fabric to the headband. Then I'm going to take a ripper and I'm going to make a hole in the fabric where I want the rivet to go. And these rivets do come with a set of rivet tools that you need to have in order to apply them. I'm using these silver rivets from Joann's. And the Rivet Tools has a tool that claims it can make the holes for you. I have never once gotten it to work. Once I have the hole made, I can take the bottom part of the rivet and I can stick that little post up through the hole that I've made in the fabric. The other end of the rivet can then stick through the foam headband piece. And this is going to be a little bit of a tight fit, which is why you don't want thick foam. And then you're going to stick both pieces of the rivet together. They should just slide together. Stick them together, put them in the holder that came with that assembly kit, and then smash it with a hammer. That is the only way I found that really gets these rivets to stick. I'm going to repeat this process for the other 5 holes in this. It does get a little harder with the first one already done. Now the headband is done. It is highly customizable. Use whatever fabric you want, whatever size you want. Thank you so much for watching. If you have any questions, please do leave them in the comment section down below, and I will get back to you as soon as I can. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. It's not that hot. I'm gonna edit out everything you're saying. If I do the leaf for Sai, you're gonna have to wear Sai's outfit. I don't think you're comfortable with that.
Because he shows off his midriff.
Are you okay with that? I'll make it for you.